Welcome back into the channel. This is Chaz with Side Hustle Network, and in today's video, I'm going to show you step by step how to photo, list, and ship an item on eBay. And I'm not here to waste your time with all this extra fluff and B-roll content, so I'm going to get right to the point and show you exactly how to do this. Step one, I'm going to assume that you have the item or several items ready to go. If you need help with the sourcing portion of selling on eBay, you can go check out our channel for more videos. I have an item right here that I have sold many times, one of my favorite high ticket items to sell. And this is a Canon PowerShot series. This is specifically the G9X. There's also a G7X model. And these things are amazing. Typically sell for at least 400 plus in used condition. Oftentimes I am picking these up for around $200, sometimes $250 on the higher end on average, and making a killing on them. Believe it or not, I actually picked this up for $130 off Facebook Marketplace, and the used comps are well over $400 on this. Being that I got an absolute deal on this and I have plenty of wiggle room for margin, I'm going to sell this very quickly so that I can show you exactly how to ship this. Step one, take your item, let's go to the photo booth and start working. So step one, you need somewhere to take the photos. We have used a ton of different variations. This is our current setup. You do not need anything set up quite like this. I'll show you some examples, but we have these LED magnetic lights attached all the way around the frame. We have this PVC style white background, which is a little bit of a reflective material, gives it that nice clean white look. So all you really need to do to get started is have some type of background. We prefer the white background as well as some type of light. If you don't want to go down the route of some type of fancy LEDs, you can just get one of these guys, fairly inexpensive, or a ring light. And if you're curious on any of the variations of supplies that we recommend, you can check that link out in the description below. So with any product in any category, when you are taking the photos, especially when it comes to the world of electronics, collector's items, shoes, etc., we want to make sure that we are highlighting any type of flaws. So on this camera, we can see there is a dent in the frame right there. Although the screen looks pretty good, there are scratch marks on the surface. So I'm going to grab some up close photos of that. And when it comes to photos, we are going to take a main photo. We are going to take photos of all the different angles, the top, the bottom, the sides. So with that being said, let's dive in and take these. Now, when it comes to photos, eBay is set up as what we call a 1:1 ratio or a square mode. So instead of being this big rectangle, which is a 4:3, we're going to switch this over to square. One big tip here is you want to try to fill in as much white space as you can, get as close to the product as you can. A lot of eBay photos you see are kind of taken like this, where the product looks fairly small. You want to make sure you get as much detail in there as possible. With the iPhone, you can actually tap on this, which brings up your contrast, and drag that dial up. So now we have a nice clean photo. What I typically like to do with these is I will take a main photo with accessories or anything it comes with, and then I'll take that out and get some closer detailed photos. Specifically with electronics, I will always open up whatever battery door is there just to show there is no corrosion. So once I have all the different main angles done, then I will get up close photos of any flaws or details. That completes the photos. Let's hop over and get this listed. Now here on the listing side, there's a few different ways you can do this. This is just the way that we currently do this and have for many years, and it's worked out fine. Instead of creating a listing from scratch, which is what detours a lot of new sellers away from doing this type of work, is they think they have to spend all this extra time on every single listing, and you really don't. We're going to use something called Sell Similar, which is essentially copying someone else's listing, double checking they filled out all of the item specifics correctly, and I'm going to walk you through exactly how to do that. So step one is we want to find the exact item that's already listed, and preferably one that's already been sold, so we can see what the pricing would look like. Now with cameras specifically, we want to make sure that we are finding the exact same model, because a lot of times we're going to have a Mark 1, a Mark 2, sometimes a Mark 3, depending on the newer models. This is just the standard, what we call a Mark 1, which is just the regular G9X. So once I pop that in here, I get all of these different results. On the left side here, we can filter down by a few different things. First, I want to go down to the exact model that I have right here, which is a G9X. What that just did is boot out any other model number that is not assigned as a G9X. Next, I want to filter down to just the colorway that I have, which is the silver and beige. Now what we are looking at is the current active listings that have not been sold. This is where we can start to see what our accurate pricing is going to look like. Now, specifically when it comes to cameras, if you have extra batteries, that is always going to fetch a higher price. This one has 2 batteries, which is listed for $475. This one only comes with 1 battery, which is what we have. This is listed at $490. So as a customer, I would probably probably go for this one over this one because it does come with the extra battery at a cheaper price. But I don't care so much about what is listed. That is good data to just take a quick peek at to see what your competition looks like. I'm actually going to scroll down here on the left, click on sold, and now we can see the actual sales that have been happening recently. So now we can see this one sold for $425 plus shipping, and that was a more accurate sale price based on what customers are willing to pay. This one sold for $415 plus shipping. We have a $474 plus shipping. So you can see that that 400 plus is a pretty accurate ballpark, and you can see that the exact same setup that we have sold for $576, but theirs did have a mint condition. Ours does have some screen damage and a little bit of scuff on the side, so I'm not going to worry about that. So now that I have a rough idea of what these are actually moving at as far as price goes, I'm actually going to price mine closer to this $400 range. That way I can just make a quick flip. And again, I paid $130 for this thing, so I have plenty of wiggle room on my pricing. Now, if we come back up here and deselect sold, come back and look at the lowest prices. I don't care about the ones that are on auction currently, so I'm going to click on buy it now. I'm going to click on sort and price plus shipping lowest first. I want to see what the lowest active listing is, which is that $475 right there. So for a quick sale, I'm going to price mine at $425 and see if we can move this overnight. And like I mentioned earlier, we are not going to be creating a listing from scratch. I'm going to copy someone else's. So I'm going to click on any of these listings, scroll down to sell now. So first step that we want to take is actually updating all the photos here. Usually your stock photo is going to be the first one on most electronics there. You can either click on this, go into your folder where they're at, or you can simply drag and drop. Once you drag your photos in here, they are automatically going to start uploading. And even though these are not a pure white background, I actually personally stopped retouching every single photo just because I found it really does not drive that big of a price difference. The one photo I am going to touch up is always going to be this main photo. And eBay actually has an automatic background remover, which we're going to go into right here. So there are two different buttons you can play around with here. One is the background remover itself. Just click on that. It will just delete that background altogether. Or the second is clicking on this brightness option, and if you drag this over, it will naturally do that. I like using this option because you can see the camera itself gets a little bit more light on it. And this is where those photo box lights really come in handy because they can give that front blast of light. I am happy with this, so we're going to hit save and done. Your main photo is the photo that draws that customer in, and then they can go through and click on the individual ones. But that main photo, you always want to make sure that looks absolutely great. Now, I personally keep my listings very, very simple. First thing is the title. This reads the exact same way as a customer is going to be searching for something. So you always want to have your heavy hitting keywords up front. So that is going to be your brand, your model number, your style code, your color, etc. You never want to have the brand name at the end or in the middle because that is not how Google is going to be reading this, or eBay itself as any search engine. So Canon PowerShot G9X. You do not need any of these extra symbols in here, by the way. The titles that have all caps, all these extra commas and apostrophes, you do not need any of that. So we are going to delete this stuff out and clean this title up. That is a much cleaner looking title, and this only has one battery, so I want to make sure that we change it from batteries to battery. Custom SKU is a little bit different for everybody. If you are storing things in certain places, this is where it's super helpful, so you can actually go find your item when it sells. We are currently at CL1024. Couple things to pay attention to here. One is category. Make sure that this category is exactly where it should be, especially if you are listing clothing. A lot of times clothing can be put in the wrong category, and then it makes it that much tougher for it to actually show up in search results. Another few things to keep an eye out is for your specifics. We want to make sure that we have the right brand, the right type, the right model, the right color, the right shade, the right size. Different things like that do make a big difference. That way, when you are getting a customer ordering a product, they are not ordering what they think is a certain color, certain size, and it's actually not. So just a quick search, we can see that this one says black. We know that this is not the black one. This is going to be a silver one. This is now telling me that I need to remove the UPC that's already automatically input up here because that is tied to the black one. So I'm going to remove that. And one quick note is you do have required specifics, which are these top three. And then the additionals are all optional, but I highly recommend that you fill out as many as you can so that these will have a better chance at popping up in that search result. MPN, similar to the UPC, is the manufacturer part number. So I'm actually going to remove that because I'm assuming that is going to be tied to the black one specifically. specifically. Item condition, please make sure you are listing things accurately under the right condition. You do not want to be listing anything as new unless it is actually factory sealed new. If you click on these bars right here, we are now going to see all of our options. We have new, we have open box, used, and 4 parts or not working. I personally have tested this camera, so I can confirm it is working, so I can put it in a used condition. If I cannot test something or it does not work, then we have to go 4 parts or not working. Once we have our conditions set, I'm going to scroll down into our description. Now, eBay does have an AI description feature, which is going to pull all the data you just entered, the title, and it's going to craft its own description. So if we click on that, you can see how this works. This is just going to summarize everything nice, cleanly together. I do like to use this, so I'm going to actually just go down a few spaces so I can add in my own notes now. Even though up here we have the photos of the flaws, I also want to go in and add those flaws into the description as well. So here's an example of a condition that I would put in it with something that has flaws. Use condition works great, but does have a few cosmetic flaws, such as minor markings on the screen and dent in front of the frame. Please review photos. So now this is going to save your butt, because if someone buys something from you and they end up returning it and they tried to claim that they had no idea there were cosmetic flaws, we now have up close photos and we have something in our description to cover our butts on that. Now we're going to scroll down. Format is going to be pricing. We are doing buy it now. Pricing, we are looking at a quick sale. So the lowest one that we saw listed was around $475, $480. So I'm going to drop my price all the way down to $425 and see if we can move this quick. Definitely recommend that you click this box right here, which is require immediate payment. Unfortunately, in the world of eBay, we don't deal with it as much anymore, but you do have buyers that will buy something, and if this is not clicked, they don't have to pay right away, and that can kind of just hang out way longer than it needs to. If you do happen to have more quantity of this exact same item, you can always update that there. I personally allow offers, make sure that that is checked boxed. I'm open for all offers, so I do not have a minimum in place. If I wanted to schedule my listing to go live at a different time, I can do that here as well. If this is left unchecked, this is going to go live immediately. Scrolling down to shipping, this is going to vary just depending on your own business model. 50% of sellers love to offer free shipping. The other 50% like to charge for shipping. It works both ways. You have to test it out and see what works best for you. We have actually done free shipping for many, many years and recently switched over to paid shipping, and we are seeing nearly the exact same amount of sales come through. What I personally like to do in this is I'm going to change my service. Right now it is auto set to priority mail. I'm going to come in here, going to find ground and vantage, which is usually going to be the cheapest route you can go on your shipping. Now, typically what we've been doing recently, and it's been working out pretty great, is we're doing a flat rate shipping for nearly all packages. Doesn't matter if it's a lightweight shirt or if it's a heavy pair of shoes. We've been doing this across the board. Now, for something lightweight under a pound, I'm typically doing this $5.99 or $4.99 for shipping. Anything heavier like a pair of shoes, we are doing $9.99. If it's heavier than that, getting into the 3-4 pound range, then we're doing $14.99 for shipping. Again, this is going to be completely based on your own experience as you trial and error. Free shipping, paid shipping, flat rate, calculated, that's up to you. So typically on an item like this where I'm going to be adding extra insurance onto it, probably signature confirmation as well, I would be adding something like $14.99 for my shipping. However, for the purpose of wanting to flip this quickly, I am actually going to offer free shipping on this. And just having the experience of shipping many of these, they're lightweight. I know I'm going to be shipping this for probably under $12. Now we get into the next one, which is going to be international shipping. eBay has their own global shipping program, so it just automatically opts you in. You don't have to worry about anything, no customs forms, etc. eBay handles all of it. They have one center that they ship to, so if you do ship something internationally through that program, your shipping is going to be done the exact same way at the exact same cost. Now, if you want to get into the world of your own international shipping plans, you can toggle this on and play around with those. Now we get into the preferences. So handling time is going to be the amount of handling time that you need before something is required to go out. You can toggle this to whatever you want. We have found that 1 business day works out phenomenal for increasing sales because customers typically wait till the last minute to order things, and when they want it now. So if I have 1 business day, something sells today, I'm shipping it out tomorrow. Now for returns, again, 50-50 split. You got to try out different ones, see what works best for you and what your preference is. We personally have been doing 30 days. Buyer is paying shipping and they get their money back. Unless it's something that was our fault, such as an error in the listing, maybe we put the wrong size, the wrong color, etc., then we can offer the free shipping. So once you have that set for yourself, that's pretty much it. We're not going to worry about item disclosures. If you want to promote your listings, that is a different video. For the sake of this video, I want to keep it short, sweet, to the point so you can see exactly how to do this. But here's a quick way you can turn that ad rate on if you want to use it. And then we are done. We're going to hit list. This camera is officially live on the eBay store. Next step, this is going to sell, hopefully quick, and then we're going to flip around and show you exactly how we're going to ship this. And sure enough, less than 24 hours later, this has now sold. I took an offer for $325. Yes, that is $100 cheaper than what I listed it for, and it would have sold at $425 if I was willing to let it sit for several weeks. But like I said earlier in this video, I did only pay $130, which means I'm going to make over $100 profit within 24 hours of listing that. So I am more than happy to go ahead and quick flip that $325, give someone a deal, and we get to make some money. Now let's show you how we're going to ship this. We are now going to simply click on Get Shipping Label. Now when it comes to shipping, of course, there are going to be many different ways to do this. I'm going to keep this very clean and simple for you and show you what box I'm going to use and how we fill all of this out. These are typically the three main ways I am shipping items. Bubble mailer, small items that do not need a lot of protection, but there is bubble wrap built into that. Number two is going to be a poly mailer, which is just your typical thin bag with no protection, things that are already pre-boxed that are not going to get damaged in transit. I'll throw in these. And then of course with something like electronics, digital cameras, I will always box those. The one used today is a 963 and 864 will also fit a digital camera that size. And if you want to see how I am packaging other items such as clothing, shoes, other electronics collector's items, you can go check out our channel where we have several of these type of shipping videos. But for today, very simple shipping method. I'm going to bubble wrap this, box it, grab that shipping label. Final product looks like that. A little bit of craft or Dunge paper on top. Next, we need to grab the weight and dimensions of the final product. When you are doing your dimensions for eBay, it is not the dimensions and size of the product, it's the size after it's been actually packaged. You always want to round up. So right here we have 14.2 ounces, so I'm going to round this up to 15 ounces. And I do want to point out on top of that, the 963, this dimension that is on the bottom of a box is typically going to be the inner dimension. I want to grab the dimension of the actual final product. So 9, closer to the 7 mark, so 9 by 7. By 4 is going to be my actual dimension. Now on the eBay side, I'm going to put in those dimensions 15, 9 by 7 by 4. This is going to give me my different options. You have USPS Ground Advantage, which is most of what we are using to ship these days, typically going to be your cheapest option right here at $6.23. We also have UPS Ground option here at $8.39, and we have USPS Priority Mail at $9.42. For today, I'm going USPS Ground Advantage at the $6.23. I do, however, want to add extra insurance on this because it is a higher ticket item, so I clicked on the additional liability coverage for an extra $5.39. For my personal business, I do signature at delivery if it's over $400. Being $325, I'm not going to do that today. Quick note, make sure you are selected on print format based on what you have. We are a big fan of the Rollo printer. Again, all these different supplies, if you're interested, you can check out the link below. Make sure that's on my 4x6 format. I am at a total for shipping at $11.62. Hit purchase. Now that we've shipped this, we can see our final breakdown exactly how much we made on this flip. I do want to point out real quick, I caught something that could have improved this title just a tad bit more. For some reason, missed it earlier. But putting in the term digital camera would have been something I would recommend we come back in here and fix for next time. So Canon PowerShot G9X digital camera, and then the rest of it is how I should have structured this a little bit cleaner, but that shows you that none of us are perfect and there's always room for improvement. But nonetheless, still sold within 24 hours and still made a pretty decent profit on it. So here we can see we sold this for $325. eBay will collect the sales tax on our behalf, which was $19.50 from the buyer, which gives us a total sale price of $344.50. Now, subtracting from that grand total, we take that $19.50 in sales tax out. Our transaction fee, which is the fees eBay took for us to use their platform and utilize their customer base, was $31.41. Paid $11.62 for that shipping label and the extra insurance coverage, which leaves us with a net proceed of $281.97. Now we can subtract our buy cost of $130, and this leaves causes us a pretty hefty $150 profit. And now you have seen a simple step-by-step process on taking the photos, doing the eBay listing, and doing your shipping once it sells. Now, of course, with this eBay business, there is a lot more layers underneath that we can dive into, which we've done here on this channel. So if you enjoy this type of content, you want to see more of it, feel free to hop on over, check out some of the videos on the channel. Do me a big favor too and comment below, would you like to see more style of videos just like this one? Simple step-by-step tutorials, different items that we are shipping out and how we package them. But with that being said, thank you so much for your time. Hopefully this helped you out in your eBay journey. This has been Chaz, Side Hustle Network. If you enjoy this type of content, be sure to subscribe to the channel because we have plenty more coming. Have an awesome day. We'll see you next time.